How you guys doing? My name is DJ, and I am your host for the Boss Talk and Beyond podcast. Today we have...
Hi, I am Nicole Griffin from Nicole Griffin Photography.
Okay. Welcome, Nicole. Thank you for joining us on the Boss Talk and Beyond podcast. I'm excited to get into this conversation for sure. Can you tell everybody first, before you get into everything, what type of photography you do? Let's get into your business a little bit.
Sure. So Nicole Griffin Photography. I photograph women and couples from the DC area, Baltimore, Northern Virginia, a little bit of people from everywhere. But my main goal is to make women and the couples that come in feel great in the skin that they are in. And we just happen to do it with less clothes on.
Right.
So, ladies in lingerie, or if you're a gentleman, you would be in your underwear. And we kind of just celebrate life that way.
Right. And the name of that type of style of photography is?
It's called Boudoir photography. It's a French word. So most people don't know what that is, which is why I just say the sexy photos in lingerie.
But yeah, we're going to be teaching these people, though. We're going to be teaching today. And so before we get into really like the business side of everything, let's talk about just a little bit about your personal life. Where are you from?
I grew up in Rockville, Maryland. Okay. So that's Montgomery County. I grew up there. I left, went to college, and then my travels took me across the world.
Across the world, okay. When did you get into photography, or when did you start knowing that photography might be something that you wanted to get into?
So I took photography as an elective in high school.
Okay.
I never really thought that I was creative or had any kind of art interest, but we had an old camera in my house, and I was like, well, I don't have to buy a camera because there's one here. And once I took that photography class in high school, I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. So I dibbled and dabbled in photography, like taking it as an elective again in college. And then I kind of put it away once I got more into college and started my career, until I moved to Guam. And Guam, if anybody doesn't know, it is a tropical island closer to Japan. It's about a 3-hour plane ride from Japan, but it's still part of the United States.
Right.
And I moved there because it was so far away. I picked up my camera again to just document like what I was seeing, the environment that I was in, the landscapes, things like that, so I could share it with my family back home.
Okay. Did you do anything else entrepreneurial before getting into photography?
No. I was in college and my grad studies and everything. Like once I started getting into the workforce, I actually worked with kids that were in foster care. And I was an advocate for them. So if they were removed from their homes, I was an advocate while they were dealing with whatever they needed to deal with, like medication-wise, just making sure that they lived in a safe environment, that they had their education, things like that. So I did that for 6 years. Then I switched over to criminal justice and helping people in that aspect. I had zero intention of even doing anything like starting my own business.
Right.
But I will say, like, my past experience actually has helped with my current experience in unexpected ways.
How so?
Well, because I do photography with women and with couples, some of them being heterosexual couples, some of them being homosexual couples or non-binary, I have learned a lot of different things and a lot of different ways to cope with people in their past experiences. So my past teaching dealing with like domestic violence or responding to somebody who has had a history of like sexual assault or just any kind of tragic thing that's happened. Also, plus medical issues. I'm more aware, and that has given me a sense of like, okay, before you come into the space and shoot this type of photography, we need to have a conversation. I need to know, is there something that you're concerned with that might want to not have shown up on photos? Like one of the things I can think of is HS. I cannot pronounce it to save my life, but it is a skin condition where some people get like weepy skin or it creates folds and it's very uncomfortable and it leaves scars. And usually it's like underarm, things like that. So some people are very self-conscious about it. So I'm more sensitive to saying, oh, okay, I've dealt with this before. It's not a big deal. You don't need to worry about it. Or as a sexual assault survivor, I'm not just going to touch you in any way, shape, or form. Like, I give you space. I want to treat you with respect. I don't want to touch you in a way that might trigger you. So there's just certain things that I have to be aware that maybe a normal photographer doesn't have to be aware or even think about.
Right. Hey, everyone. My name is DJ, and I am the host of the Boss Talk and Beyond podcast. This podcast is for entrepreneurs. It gives them a platform for them to share their services or products, and also gives them a platform for them to tell their story. This podcast is also for you as a viewer. Feel free to be inspired as you listen and gain any knowledge that any of these hosts or guests are able to, give to you. We hope you like and subscribe and follow us and enjoy the rest of the show. Right. Okay. So, no, I understand that. I definitely do. So starting from when you were in high school, right? Talk to me about the journey of, I guess, like becoming that, professional. I don't even like using because, but becoming a photographer that, I guess, in college, did you do photography in college? Like, talk to me about that journey of, building up into the college time.
Yeah. So high school, I think they would just give us, assignments. So shoot X, Y, and Z, or find something that represents whatever the assignment is, and find something that would your interpretation of that. Same thing in college. Get out in the community, find something that intrigues you, tell a story, those types of things. So I don't really think that my skill set developed or created like, this is what I want to do, because I was still trying to understand it. I feel, and I tell people, like, I've shot everything from babies to zebras and everything in between. And it was just more of me exploring and figuring out what do I like, what's my viewpoint on whatever it is. So, like, if I'm shooting babies, which I've learned, I don't want to touch everybody's babies. Right. Just because they're so new and so fragile, and I don't want like first-time parents to be nervous about something, and then that adds to my anxiety, things like that. Events, that's not my favorite. I love the celebrations, but it's like, oh no, I missed the moment because something happened. It might be out of focus, and then I'm like, oh shit, I just messed up the whole entire thing for somebody, and I can't be like, hey, wait, can we do this again?
Yeah.
So that's my own personal preference. So when I started to go through and figure out, okay, what do I like, what do I don't like, by process of elimination, this is how I landed as Boudoir.
Okay. Did you do Boudoir in college?
No.
No. Did you pick up your camera in college, or was it after college? Like, tell me about that journey.
Yeah. So once I moved to Guam, I really started doing like more landscapes and did more travel photography. I went and traveled through Asia and ended up in Africa, fell in love with like African safaris and photographing wildlife on African safaris. And I was like, man, how do I make this a career?
Right.
I still haven't figured that out. So we're here. But during the pandemic, I was dating somebody and it turned out to not be a great relationship. So he broke up with me and told me everything that he thought was wrong with me. He gave me a laundry list of things. Mm-hmm. Like he didn't like the way how I wore my hair. He didn't like the way how I loaded the dishwasher. Mm-hmm. He didn't like the way how I cleaned whatever it is. And because we were in the pandemic and we were just so isolated, mm-hmm. all I would hear was everything that he went through and said what was wrong with me, like physical appearance, all of that. So I just replayed that kind of like a broken record. Mm-hmm. And as I fell into a depressed state and I was scrolling through Instagram one day, I saw somebody's boudoir photos and I was like, oh, that's really pretty.
Right.
Maybe like when I feel better, I'll do something like that. Mm-hmm. So this fell into like a pretty serious depression, went to therapy, got on medication, all of that. Just, from that plus COVID isolation. And then I said, maybe I need to try doing this session for me and doing a boudoir session. So I did. Mm-hmm. And it definitely helped my self-esteem and just gave me something else to focus on. So like when like the radio inside my head would play everything that guy told me about mm-hmm. myself, mm-hmm. I'd be like, no, let's look at these photos. Let's tell yourself something different. And then I was like, all right, I really like this. Mm-hmm. I really think that this could be something that's cool for other people. And I reached out to my friends and I was like, hey, do you mind if we just play around and try something?
Right.
So we did. And one of my friends, like when I showed her images, she started crying.
So that was your first client?
Yeah.
That was your first
client? Yeah, that was like my first client. That was kind of like the spark mm-hmm. That I was on the right path. She started crying because she had been recently divorced and she had like a similar story where she just didn't feel like herself and she didn't feel pretty and that, she felt a lot of self-worth.
Right.
So seeing herself in those photos, she was like, man, I forgot about this chick. I forgot about this woman who was here this entire time. Mm-hmm. And thank you for capturing that. Right. And I was like, wow, okay. Mm-hmm. That was not the reaction I was expecting. But I was like, this is why we need to be doing this more because women especially, like we carry so much. Mm-hmm. We do a lot for other people, our families, our boyfriends, husbands, partners, our jobs, mm-hmm. our extended family, our friends, et cetera, et cetera. Mm-hmm. But we tend to put ourselves last. And I was like, I need to remind women and give them a space where they can appreciate themselves. They can say, you know what, I can be sexy plus a mom, plus CEO, plus X, Y, and Z, plus whatever else they've got going on. And I don't necessarily need to shrink in order to keep other people shining.
Okay. No, I love that. No, that's like, I feel like I'm not going to say all photographers, I think most photographers kind of live off of that, right? Mm-hmm. The passion of not the passion, but the compassion from their clients, loving their photos, seeing things in a different light, having people, as we, some people call them photo albums, some people call them lookbooks and stuff like that. Looking back on I do wedding photography, looking back on the wedding album that I sent, getting their reaction, them saying they love the photos, going through the photos, showing their grandparents, they're loving the photos, just recapping that moment. That's kind of something that I love to hear and live back. Like, even if it's not something that's widespread, it's just, having that moment with the client, just knowing that they appreciate the photos that I took. I know with me, I still kind of have that anxiety of, like, even though I've done events and different things every time, but I still have the anxiety of, like, are these people gonna like these photos I've taken? I think they're fire, but like somebody else could be like, whatever. But I just have that anxiety, even though I know I did a good job. It's just making sure that the client loves the photos as much as I do. So no, trust me, I definitely understand that. So after that first client, how often or when did you get your next client? What was that journey of continuing to build the business from there?
Yeah. So my first client was free.
Right.
In exchange for her letting me share some photos. So that's how it started, was reaching out to friends and family or friends of friends that would let me kind of do this. I put feelers out. I rented a hotel. Well, let me say, I rented a hotel suite. And I put feelers out, and I was like, hey, I'm looking for people on X, Y, and Z date, and I want to try Boudoir.
Right.
If they're open to it, because you do have to get pretty naked. So, it's not for everybody. But I'm like, if somebody is interested in helping me do this, while I try things out, try out poses, try out lighting, figure out things, I'll give you images for free in exchange to do that. So I ended up with 6 people, friends of friends, my family members, and then 2 of my actual friends. So I was kind of shocked that I had this many people that were willing to do it. And I was like, oh, okay, this is great. And I was super appreciative. So they made it so much easier. And then I started joining a bunch of different groups on Facebook. There's a lot of free photography groups. And then there was a company that was looking for photographers for Boudoir because they have a traveling business and they look for photographers so they can have their clients come in that particular city. So I was like, oh, well, should I try for this? I was like, worst case scenario, they'll just tell me no thanks. And they hired me after I showed them the images from the 6 people that I had. And that gave me a lot of experience very quickly. Like, one of the things that I had as a piece of advice from a photographer who was making, at that point in time, $300,000-$400,000. She was like, shoot as many people as you can possibly can, just so you can get practice, just so you can get a good portfolio and feel comfortable shooting different body types and shooting a lot of people. So that company gave me experience. I was maybe shooting, I think, the busiest 8-9 people in one day.
8-9 people, oh man.
Every hour on the hour, so plus an hour lunch. It actually might even be 10, but from like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. I had clientele, and you didn't know who was going to walk in the door. All my communication was with text, and I was like, man, this is shady. But they all came in, everything was good. My safety was fine, and their safety was fine too. So it ended up working out really well. And by the end of my time working with them, I probably have shot over 100 people within a very short period of time.
Oh,
So then I said, I'm not doing this anymore. Right. My back hurts, my feet hurt, my knees hurt because I get down on the ground, I'm up and around. I show them how to actually do the poses. So I'm very interactive, and doing that many people in like a period of 2.5 days, that's a lot. It's tiring. So I said, I need to transition to finding my own clients, my own studio space, and branching out on my own. So that's what I did.
Oh, I love that. So, that's amazing. When did you, I guess, become a business?
So officially, I believe I've been in business for 3 years.
Okay.
I started as soon as I made the transition from that company to having my own business, and even in between, because I was still getting my own clients here and there. But it wasn't on a real consistent basis. Then I said, I need to be legit. I want to do all the paperwork to be established as a business here in Maryland and, pay sales tax and all that good stuff. So I try to do it pretty early on, when I felt okay, this is an actual thing that's happening and I'm going to promote this as much as I can. So, the paperwork part was easy. It's the finding people out of thin air who want to come and shoot with me and pay me to actually shoot that is always challenging.
The challenge.
But I feel like as a business, you're creating something out of thin air. So just being on the grind all the time, that part's hard. It's different.
Right. Being on the grind all the time is definitely difficult. You're always searching for that new client. Sometimes you never know when that new client is going to arrive.
Right.
Just pop up out of the blue.
Yeah.
And then, of course, having our businesses online with our websites is out there on the internet. So, that new client is always right around the corner, but we just, as a business owner, we never know.
And I also get some very interesting requests as well because I'm on the internet too.
Yeah, that's a wild place.
It is.
It's definitely a wild place. Okay, so you got your business established, and so So when you establish your business, right? Of course, you say you've been in business for 3 years, right? From when you first started to your business to now, what has that growth been looking like to you?
It's been positive, but like I said, it's also been hard. Having a regular 9 to 5, it's you start your job, you know exactly when you need to clock in, and then you know when you need to leave. You also know when you're going to get paid. It's, I've had a monthly check, I've had a bi-weekly check, I've had a weekly check. So depending on what job I was doing, I knew exactly when I was getting my check and I could budget for that. Now, I don't necessarily know when I'm going to get a check and how much is it going to be.
Right.
But one of the things that I've started to implement over the years is payment plans. So that's really big for me as a photographer. When I first started, everybody could just come in, like the day of the session, pay me the entirety of whatever it is that they want, and then I would just get paid on the day of the session. But, unfortunately, I have some people that would put themselves on the calendar and then be like, I ain't got it.
Right.
So what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I've already rented the studio. I've already paid for the hair and makeup artist. Like, I haven't even paid myself, but I'm already out money. So how do we prevent this for the future? So that's why I started doing a payment plan in having them prepay before they come into the session. I have found that, one, I know that my services are not a necessity. This is a luxury. Nobody needs a photo shoot to be able to pay their grocery bills or do anything like keep their lights on, things like that. So I hope that they would make sure that those things are taken care of before they come and talk to me. But I try to make it where we can break down payments in an affordable manner. And I open up my calendar as far as a year in advance so people can plan and they can make it affordable for themselves. So I have some people that only pay me like $25 a week. I have people that pay me, $300-400 a month. So that I can calculate and I can say, okay, this is how much we are expected to get this month. And then so I know, do I need anybody else to add to my schedule for this month? Are we good for this month? Can we move on to the next month? Things like that.
Okay. Payment plans, because we was actually just talking about that in the last episode, making it easier for people to pay. Because if people got to do this and then do that and then do this and then do that, they're most likely to click off your page. Or click off your website or wherever your pay checkout process is. You got to make it simplified. That's what the lady was saying last night. We just did an event last night. And I was able to do the little tap to pay, tapped it, and then she was like, "Oh, real easy! Like this is real easy. Like because you just the easiest it is to one. We want the money as business owners. We want the money,
of course,
but we want them to be ready to pay and not have to go through just too much trouble in order to pay. So I definitely understand that. So you were also talking about how you got into the business and then you was able to try the photography on your friend, right? I also want to dive deep into because with Boudoir there's certain types of posing, right? So how did you start learning about posing people and making that easier for yourself? Because sometimes as photographers, and I know this for myself, one of the hardest things to pose is our hands.
Yes.
And knowing where to put our hands in so different places. So yeah, speak on that for a little bit.
Yeah, it's a lot of trial and error. I still experiment with every single client. Like they don't necessarily know that I experiment, unless sometimes I do tell them, but they would never know. I've gone to it's a lot of education too. Like I feel that even though, or let's say maybe I don't have a client, I'm still in the studio, I'm still studying the light, where does the light fall? Even if I have a client there, I might start them out in a pose and I'll take a step back and I'll look at it and be like, I don't like this. Yeah. I will never tell my client, this is terrible. But what I will say is, let's just make some adjustments. Yeah. How about you move here?
Words, and communication.
Especially because I'm in the business of making people feel good. So I'm not going to be like, you look like crap. Right. I'm not going to do that. Right. Instead, I'm going to just say, let's try something else and then move them to do something else. I'm always open for suggestions, but sometimes they'll come in and say like, they don't know what to look for, or they don't know how to be sexy, or they don't know what they should be doing. And I'm like, that's fine, no worries, because that's when I got you. So I do a lot of workshops. I do, there are posing guides that you can get on the internet. YouTube University is great. And then there are just a lot of trial and error.
Yeah. I know my first mentor was on YouTube and learning how to use a camera. I learned really all that via YouTube right there. So, speaking off of that though, who was your first mentor? Did you do YouTube for mentorship or what did you do? Because I know we all have different mentors.
Yeah, I feel like I have a list and it's a growing list and it really just depends for various reasons. One of the first people that I really was like, man, their work is really nice. Michael Sasser, who is in Los Angeles. He has really nice boudoir photography, and he had an online course, and a YouTube page. So it was very easy and very accessible to learn from him as far as like poses and different things. I still like his work, but his clientele is not my clientele. I work with more normal sized body women, and him being in LA, I felt like he dealt with like slimmer bodies. And there's nothing wrong with that. I have clients of all shapes and sizes, but I was like, some of the things that he was doing wasn't translating with my clients. So I had to seek out other people. One of them was Carice Coleman. She is in Atlanta, and she is the owner of the Booty Bar in Atlanta. And she still does fabulous work. And I did a in-person mentorship with her. So that was like, oh my gosh, yes. This is so amazing. So like, really, and she's, even like to this day, like if she sees something that I'm doing that's great, she'll be like, oh my gosh, Nicole, like look how far you've come. And I'm like, oh, it's because of you. So I really do like appreciate, people who I've admired from like YouTube or Instagram or Facebook, who are now like people that I know and who I consider friends. So
right. Was that just a talk, or did you guys actually do work within that mentorship with her?
Yeah, so she pulled up my website. She went over my website. She was like, okay, what are the poses that you have on here? We talked about business, pricing, why should you do something, like how do you get more clients? She had a person who was following her come to the studio who had never done a boudoir session herself, and to come in and then do a session with both of us. So she could walk me through different poses, how she would pose them. She even like let me pose, and she was like, I'm gonna let you do your thing. And then she said, okay, this is how we can make this pose better. And then showed me different lighting techniques and things that she does. She does a masterful set design. And I'm still blown away of like how it seems so simple when you peel back the layers, but it looks so good in camera.
Right.
So certain things that she would do, I was like, man, okay, I really like your style, things like that. And like the model that we used, my God, I've shot with her at least 2-3 times since then. And I'm just like, anytime I come to Atlanta, I'm like, hey, are you free? Just so I can try new things out.
Right.
Yeah. I'm always learning.
Right. And yeah, we're going to speak on that soon. But how important do you believe it is for, photographers or boudoir photographers to have a mentor?
I think it's really important. I think in general, photographers focus a lot on lighting and how do I improve my lighting, or how do I improve my skills as a photographer? How do you upgrade your camera, like shooting better, things like that. And I did that too. Like I went to a lot of workshops. There are great conferences that happen every single year. I promise you I went to every single one of them. Anybody who was selling something for education on boudoir, I probably bought it. I spent all the money. I feel like all the money that I made the first year and a half or so, I felt like I spent it back on education, just because I was like, I don't freaking know anything, and I'm just learning. And thank God for the clients that did pay me then. But I feel like if I could go back I wouldn't put my money into learning posing and lighting and things like that.
Right.
I will put my money in how to run a business and how to run a successful business and a profitable business first.
Right.
That is really where I should put my money in.
Right.
Because I have seen some things. I've seen some photographers.
We've all seen some things.
Right. I've seen some photographers where I'm like,
man,
I don't know if this is really your thing, but I have also seen the receipts, and I know that they're making more than I am, or more than what I was making at the time. And that is because they're really good at selling, and they are really good at running a business. One of them has even told me, I'm an okay photographer, but I am a great seller.
Right.
And I was like, okay. So going to the workshops and talking to them and realizing, hey, she's making $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 doing the exact same thing that you're doing with a smaller space. It was eye-opening. So that has been my greatest lesson so far.
Okay, no, I definitely understand that. We spoke on that. Photographer is, who are we to judge, right?
Yeah, you're right.
At the same time, like,
Right.
who are we to judge? Because their clientele had seen their work at once upon a time and chose them to be the photographer.
You're absolutely correct.
So, as photographers, we may be like, so-and-so may, have different settings on the way they shoot in different ways. Because you was asking me yesterday, like I said, we did a party on the different ways I like to shoot and the different ways you like to shoot. What you shoot darker, I shoot a little bit lighter. So like I said, like, people know. But I will say that, people have come up to me, married couples, and, told me that, and it hasn't started since, it's just started like last year. Tell me that, we didn't like the photographer that shot our wedding, and we want to do a re-wedding or another wedding or wedding alike, and have you come out and shoot the photos. Like, I'm happy to do that, but this is really interesting, how, I guess people vet their photographers and then, the outcomes of it. That's why I still, like I say, get anxious, because you never know.
Yeah.
Who's going to like this and who's going to like that. You just never know. So, like I said, I definitely understand that. Clients, how do you get new clients?
I do a lot of things. Everywhere at some point in time. I do a lot of business online, Facebook and Instagram. I run ads through there. I am getting into Google ads more, but Boudoir, I have to censor a lot. So I have to be a little bit more careful with what I'm doing. I have great clients that refer their family or friends. And so word of mouth, that is great. I have repeat clients that come back. Right. I've had one client who, I think we're on her third or fourth session at this point. Oh. So I love when my past clients come back. I literally just shot my client last week. It was her second shoot. Okay. So it was like, oh, okay. She's like, I trust you. We don't even really need to talk about what we're going to do beforehand. I'm just going to show up and we're going to do that. And I said, oh, okay, great. Like, I try to not wing it with everybody. I want you to, tell me what your vision is. Tell me how you feel. But she was like, girl, we've done this before. I trust you. I know exactly what you're going to do. I've seen your work on Instagram. So, things like that. And then I have some clients that are just open to letting me play around and try new things. And that's fun for me because it's like, oh, all right. So let's just do a little different. Like, you tell me what your spice level is. It's like salsa. So it could be mild salsa or it could be super spicy salsa or somewhere in between. And that's where I'll go.
Right. Okay. No, that's That's knowing that and asking those questions is big. Communication is big in the way that we speak to our clients and making sure that they're comfortable in the things. Even with me, like, I'm doing photo sessions with people. Like, I ask first, like, hey, can I get this here? Hey, can I move this? Hey, can I, like, because that communication is key, because you don't want to invade someone's personal space. Now you make them feel awkward. Now your photos are giving that feeling of awkwardness.
Yeah.
And now everybody's wondering, like, why they feel like this is because you may have done something that wasn't communicated, right? So, and then that also equates to quality over quantity, right? Because the quality of our photos, of course, are, have to match the quantity. But in order to get the quality, everybody's got to be comfortable in that state. So, I do want to ask that, kind of piggyback off of what I just said. So let's go through like a session, right? People step foot in your studio. What are some of your first steps before, actually, let's back it up, excuse me, because I'm sure you do a consultation call first.
Yes.
So let's walk through that consultation to them going into your studio to taking that first step.
And I was going to start there anyways.
I just thought about that.
So for me, it does start at consultation. Like, I want to get on the phone or video, whichever one you feel more comfortable with.
Right.
I want to talk to you. Because of the way how I do this and because I do care about people, I want to know what's your hesitation, if you have any, when you're coming in here. What's your goal other than you just want to look amazing on camera? Is it for like confidence boost? If you're a couple, do you want to like recapture your intimate moments together, or like establish a new connection? Or what's your goal of this shoot?
Right.
And then we'll talk about the process. I will literally walk you through it. Like, on the day of your session, you'll come in. I have a hair and makeup artist. We will go ahead and sit down. We'll probably, chit chat, get to know each other a little bit better. I might tell you about a dating story that I had, or like what's going on in my life. You can share what's going on in your life, things like that. So it's not like, you just come in and strip down. So I try to make it inviting and just kind of ease you into this whole situation. We'll hop on a Zoom call before the session where, again, we will talk about what parts of your body do you love, which part of your body you're learning to love, how do you want to be photographed, are there things that you specifically want to do, like do you have a Pinterest board that you've been saving? Have you taken screenshots? Send those to me. How do you want to look as far as hair and makeup? We'll talk about that. If you have any concerns, tell me those so I will know ahead of time. I usually tell my clients, if you let me, I will bend you like a pretzel. And because of that, I need to know, do you have any mobility issues? If you have, an old knee injury from something and you can't bend backwards, okay, cool, that's perfectly fine. I would just need to adjust and not do the super bendy poses with you.
Right.
And then I also have suggestions for like what types of lingerie based off of your body type. We'll talk about that. And if you don't want to wear lingerie, that's fine too. We can talk about what those options are as well, including for masculine presenting, if it's a couple. So masculine presenting are men. We will also incorporate what to wear for your session, and, things to include for that. And then we will also talk about your mindset. I have some clients that literally have never looked at themselves or haven't looked at themselves in a full-length mirror in years. If they are in the bathroom, they will just walk right past a mirror without looking at themselves. And I'm like, yeah, but you're coming into the studio to gain confidence.
Yeah.
So if you can't even look at yourself in the mirror, how are we going to have confidence?
Right.
I can do only so much in about an hour and a half session. So I encourage people to do some work and change their mind mindset on certain things. So it's really like encouraging people to talk to themselves nicer, talk to themselves like they would their best friend. Like if your best friend had said, "Hey, my stomach, it looks terrible," what would you say to her?
Right.
So why would you, do something else with your own self?
Right.
Yeah.
No, I get that.
Oh, and I'm sorry.
Yeah,
And
let's go into that.
That's all just...
That's a consultation.
That's the consultation, and then that's the pre-session Zoom.
Oh, yeah, so you do two. Okay.
Yeah.
So the consultation first, and then the pre-session Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay, so now they're stepping into the space.
So then they come into the space. So, we'll talk about all the things that we talked about over the phone. Let's see your outfits, get you in hair and makeup, actually do the things, make sure that you love your hair and makeup before the makeup artist leaves. If it's a single session, the makeup artist will leave just because we want to keep it private. Right. We want to keep it less, with less people in the room. So she will go ahead and leave, and then that's when the session will start. Session is about an hour and a half, unless we add some bonus sets in there. And then during that time frame, we'll be doing different things, different poses and different sets. Like we have a bedroom set, we'll do something on the couch, some standing poses. So you'll just get a good variety. I usually show about 100 or so images once everything is said and done after the session. But, once the hour and a half is up, you're usually tired. So I let you go grab lunch or take a nap, run errands, whatever. And then we'll get on Zoom after that evening. And we'll go over your images where you'll select your images. Most of my clients put it in an album, or they get a big wall print to hang up on their walls, or if they're gifting it to their significant other, as far as a birthday gift or anniversary, or even a wedding, depending on what kind of product that they want. We'll pick the images and however they want it delivered.
Right. Okay. So what does that viewing after the shoot look like?
So, like I said, they typically see about 100 images.
Okay.
So we'll go through and we will look at all of the 100 images individually.
Are they edited?
They are edited.
Okay.
And then if we need to do a slight final retouching, that's perfectly fine. I try to make sure that my edited images look like you. Not like the Barbie doll version of you, but actually you.
Right.
So I try to make sure that they're retouched, but you can still see skin texture. You can still see what your body will look like.
Okay. So that's amazing. So we went over kind of what Boudoir was, and then the posing and everything for it and all. So that's amazing. So what are your next steps with your photography?
My next steps?
Yeah, what's your next steps? What are some goals that you're trying to reach within the next year, next few years?
I want to reach as many people as I possibly can. My business, it's not just a factory, and I really want to encourage women, especially normal size bodies, so ladies with curves, ladies that or without curves, I want them to feel good in their bodies. I want them to not necessarily compare themselves to anybody else, but also note that if they grew up like me in the 90s or early 2000s, that you don't have to be drop dead gorgeous, super skinny, or look a certain way to feel beautiful. So that's really the goal of my business, and I want as many women and couples to come in that are reminded of that.
Right.
And just to give them a safe space to be able to explore their sensuality, explore their sexuality in a different way, because there's so many benefits of this session that they may not even realize before they walked in.
Right. No, I definitely understand that. Making sure that they're comfortable, making sure everything is in alignment. That's one of my words of this season is alignment. Making sure everything is in alignment, both for you and the client, so that everything goes well and everything flows well. And so, being who you are today within your business, what is, and I've been asking this to people as well, what is something that you would, tell yourself, I guess 3 years before, or no, it's been more than that, so high school self, what is something that you would tell them or tell yourself to encourage, I guess, the journey that they're about to embark on?
Not too sure.
Not to be so hard on yourself. I feel like I know I'm an introvert, and I know that I am shy, and I'm more guarded with myself, and that it's okay to share different parts of you with other people, because other people might be feeling the same way that you are. So really just being more open to sharing. That's one thing. And also just keep learning. Like, I feel like I'm a lifetime learner. It's not just formal education, but also informal education, and continue to do that.
Okay. Well, we definitely appreciate you for joining us on the podcast. Definitely tell everybody where they can find you at, where they can reach you at.
Yes. So my website is Nicole Griffin Photography. That is Griffin, Griffin, photography.com. On Instagram, I am Nicole G Photography _DC, and you literally have to type it all in because Instagram is a hater.
But we still love it though.
Yeah,
because it brings us business.
Look,
It brings me business. I know that for sure.
I do have a love-hate with Instagram, but you definitely have to put in my entire name to find me on Instagram, because
that's interesting.
They do shadow ban boudoir photographers because we do show boobs and butts and everything else in between.
Right.
So Nicole G Photography _DC.
Okay.
On Facebook, it's Nicole Griffin Photography. You'll see a little black girl, and that's me.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm around. If you also want to send me an email, hello@NicoleGriffinPhotography.com. I am available.
And also, her information will be or is in the description below, the description box below. Nicole, we appreciate you again for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for your time and sharing your knowledge to the world, because that's what this podcast is really about. This podcast is really about, letting people, because there's somebody out here that wants to do what you're doing, becoming a boudoir photographer, becoming a photographer, whatever it is.
Becoming a photographer that's making real money.
Yeah, exactly. The right way.
Yes.
Don't forget to pay your taxes.
It's hard enough. You got to pay taxes. They definitely want to come after you. You want to pay yourself.
Exactly.
You got to set yourself up right from the beginning if you can.
Exactly. So again, we appreciate you, and everybody, please like and subscribe. That helps us grow. It's free. I promise you, it's free to like and subscribe. So thank you guys for joining us and viewing, and we'll be in talk. So thank you.